Michael Cathcart, Tom Gleeson, Denise Scott, and our chairperson, Simon Marnie.
Thank you very much, and welcome to this session where we hopefully, somebody said to me, I'm taking notes because I want to learn how to be funny. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll notice to my right and to the your whatever at the stage is an empty chair. That is dedicated by Sydney Pen, which is one of 144 pen organisations recognising those people for whom writing is actually a life-threatening and liberty-threatening situation. The panel beside me think nothing more than to sit down and write what they feel, what they believe, and what their politics entail. But for some people around the world, that can deliver a life sentence and even the threat of death. And for that, we acknowledge Penn, and particularly today, we acknowledge Dorwit Hubtul-Mukal, a physics professor and co-founder and assistant chief editor of the Mukal newspaper. He was arrested in September 2001 following the abrupt banning of all non-state print media outlets. He's been in prison for over 7 years, without charge, without trial, and I look forward to the day where he can join us on this stage in the chair reserved for him. Thank you. Comedy.
I'll be honest with you, I was feeling a bit sorry for myself because I had to wake up early on a Sunday. And it's all just been put into perspective, so thank you.
That voice, ladies and gentlemen, belongs to Tom Gleeson. He was born a red-haired kid who grew up in the country. In fact, the country he grew up in seemed to be populated by a disproportionately large number of fair-skinned, red-haired kids. Since then, comedy has taken him to Edinburgh, Montreal, New York, and every city in Australia where he performed such successful stand-up shows as Tomathon and Tom On, which was nominated for a Helpman Award in 2007. You know his face from TV and such programs as Rove, Good News Week, and Skit House. That's Skit House. And if you're here from Melbourne, you would have heard him on Mix 101.1. But it was a tour to entertain the troops in Iraq and Afghanistan that led him to put pen to paper. And while playing poker with the SAS is the book, he was here in Byron Bay, a town that once supplied him with a rather intriguing massage. That's what it says on your bio.
I don't remember writing that.
Denise Scott is one of the pioneers of comedy in Australia.
Yes, that's right. I used to go out on the horse and cart, Simon. And we'd just make a fire and gather around, right? Entertain on the gold, you know, when the gold diggers had finished a day. Pioneer. Oh, continue.
You know her face from such shows as The Big Gig, but also she's performed on radio and of course has a stand-up career. But her book, All That Happened at Number 26, is a fascinating insight into her and the house, the family, that they still live in the house at number 26. Ladies and gentlemen, the very shy Denise Scott. Imran Ahmad was born in Pakistan but migrated with his parents to London when he was 1 year old, and I'm reading it from this excellent book, Unimagined. Imran passionately wanted to be Simon Templar. Dun, 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 dun. He has worked as a management consultant, but we forgive him for that, and now has put together the book Unimagined, A Muslim Boy Meets the West. And we welcome to the stage Imran Ahmad. I had to race this session, so I'm not sure I've got all the biogs right. Michael Cathcart started his comedy career at La Mama and the Pram Factory in Melbourne. He then took to the international comedy circuit where he wowed them in Montreal, Edinburgh and indeed Stalingrad. Michael Cathcart has been awarded the Helpman Award for stand-up comedy more times than any comedian in Australia. Currently presenting the most humorous breakfast show on 2 FM stations across Australia, Michael also has an extensive career in cinema where he's written such extensive comedies as The Castle. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome to the stage Michael Cathcart.
my undercover life, I'm actually a lecturer in history at the University of Melbourne.
Oh, I googled the wrong Michael Cathcart. You can see I've prepared for this one. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go to Michael Cathcart first of all, because as a historian, you often get bogged down in the non-humorous, but I guess research can lead to all sorts of funny situations.
It's not an inherently funny thing, history. I'm not quite sure why I'm here. But the absurdity of it's amusing in its own right. I did have an extraordinary experience. I've written this book, The Water Dreamers, which is an extremely unfunny history, but a beautiful book. It's a history of Australia, told from the point of view of water.
But it's a dry comedy.
It's a dry comedy. You're supposed to feed me the gag line. So I want you to picture me in Rhodes House. Now, Rhodes House is the headquarters of the Rhodes Scholarship. It's founded by Cecil Rhodes, the great imperialist who conquered Africa for the British Empire. It's there in Oxford. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I'm there to research the history of water in Australia. So I go into this wonderful place, and the woman says, "Oh, welcome, Mr. Cathcart. Awfully nice to have you with us. The catalogue is just next door. You'll find it all quite self-explanatory." So I go into the catalogue, which is gorgeous, a wall of lovely little drawers that you pull out with little cards, and I'm there fiddling away with these cards, but I can't find a single reference to Australia. And I feel such a fool. And I go back to this woman and I say, "Look, I'm awfully sorry." As if it's my fault. But I can't find a single reference to Australia. She said, "You can't?" "Oh, you'll find it under non-Africania." Go figure.
For you, the English was a great sense of humour, particularly as somebody who grew up wanting to be all things British. I mean, you wore the clothes that you wanted or thought would make you more British. You admired those people who were the epitome of British style, and Simon Templar being one of them.
And James Bond being the other.
And James Bond being the other.
I mean, the thing was that in those days, 60s and 70s, Britain was quite a racist society. And I just wanted to belong so much, to deal with the racism by just belonging, because people were always telling me to go home, and they didn't mean, where I lived in the suburbs. So I was looking for role models that would help me to belong. And actually, just before my A-level exams, and this cost me my career in medicine, but I discovered James Bond novels. And reading them, I was just struck by the description of James Bond given by Ian Fleming. And this is an authentic description from Russia with Love. James Bond, dark, clean-cut face. Yeah, and I shave every day. Eyes wide and level, sure. Straight, rather long black brows, yes. Hair black, absolutely. Parted on the left, yes, since childhood. Longest straight nose, yep. Short upper lip, could be. Wide and finely drawn but cruel mouth. My mouth can be cruel. Jaw straight and firm, I think so. And a 3-inch scar on the right cheek. Okay, I haven't got that, but it has a dimple on the chin on the right side, which is close enough. And I was able to convince myself that I wasn't that different from James Bond, who was the ultimate establishment figure who definitely belonged.
I can see him just there.
Except the only thing is, I didn't drink vodka, and I was completely inept with women, but I could still imagine there wasn't that much between us.